Hello there and welcome to IMPOUNDS, which is proudly brought to you as always by West Blue Consulting Limited, also Ghana Oil Company Limited and Ghana Community Network Services. BNFT is the media partner. And folks, this week we're going to continue our conversation on the state of Ghana's rail lines. We will again be talking to the minister pretty shortly. In the meantime though, a very great wind of change is blowing in the coastal business in this country, as well as the fishing industry. And thanks a lot to the collaboration between the owners and operators of coastals in Ghana, as well as the Tema Fishing Harbour of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Now, thanks to them, an association of coastal owners and operators have been launched. It's called COAGA, that's Coastal Owners and Operators Association of Ghana. It's been launched in this country. Their core aim is to supply you, the consumer, with the best preserved fish and other foods. Coastal Owners and Operators, in collaboration with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, has officially inaugurated the Coastal Owners and Operators Association of Ghana, COAGA. The association aims to create a platform for easy communication, negotiation and recognition between and among members and GPHA management, other state agencies, as well as the fishing community. The Deputy Minister of Transport and the Member of Parliament for Tema East, where the fishing harbour is located, Daniel Kwate Titus Glover, tasked the executives to serve diligently and lead the association to press home their demand for reduced electricity tariffs, among others.
2017 budget, the finance minister also some relief in the industry. The mining industry is getting about 11%. I think that other stakeholders like the coastal owners, they also deserve something.
He charged that a sanitation task force be set up for the fishing harbour to improve the hygiene situation in the area.
Because it will have Yariana and into make sanitation and the Mr. Kumaji is a Makachan Data General Port Authority, Makachan would need a sanitation task force to be formed here at the fishing hub. Come on, family, you need catch up. Catch up the flatcher.
The president of COAGA, Nana William Buckman, said the association is to protect the fishing harbour in its operations, serve as a body to advocate and settle trade disputes among and between members and stakeholder agencies.
Our association is to serve as the mouthpiece to protect the interests of our members. B, to protect the fishing industry in Ghana and to ensure that decisions taken by policy makers do not adversely affect the business interests of our members.
The General Manager of Operations at the Port of Tema, Abraham Mensah, who chaired the inaugural ceremony in the stead of the Director of Tema Port, Edward Osei, commended the initiative of forming such an association to improve preservation of fish stock in Ghana.
Done well. And when I look at your vision that you want to preserve the fishing stock as well as distribute it in a very wholesome manner for the consumption of the Ghanaian public, I think this is quite a very laudable objective you have, and we hope that you continue doing that. You know, interestingly, we've been receiving visitors from abroad.
Other dignitaries, including representatives of the Ministers of Fisheries and Energy and heads of regulatory agencies, lauded the initiative by the coastal operators and the Tema Fishing Harbour for the creation of an association.
Owing to the economic impact of this growing industry and the enumerated reasons, it is important that this business be accorded all the assistance that it requires from especially the ministries gathered here and their relevant departments and agencies, as well as other stakeholders in the economy.
There are new coal stores within the fishing harbor enclave whose records are difficult to obtain due to ignorance of these new owners about the essence for their data collection. It is therefore a big relief if there is a group or association to work closely with other than individuals for a symbiotic relationship for the growth of the sector.
The general manager of Tema Fishing Harbour, Kumie J. Sam, whose initiative was praised, said a lot of efforts will be made to improve the coal store business at the Tema Harbour, including an award for the best coal store owner and operator.
I know friends who are looking for partners to even collaborate, expand coal stores and other aspects of the fishing industry. And once we have all these things, have all the documentation right, I believe that the opportunity will be there for us to expand our businesses. By God's grace, GPHA, we are ready to do as much as we can to support your industry.
So as a country, we are fortunate. We now have an association of coastal owners and operators association, COAGA, and their core aim is to ensure a very hygienic, preserved foods for you, particularly fish. And that we have to say very kudos to the management of Tema Fishing Harbour who pushed for this to happen. Also, we have to say kudos to the association itself. Lots of members there, about 100 members. Folks, let's move away from COAGA that's been inaugurated to the rail sector. A lot of things are happening right now thanks to the Minister and the Ministry of Railways Industry. Now, Iron Port took it upon itself, thanks to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, to assess the status of Ghana's rail lines all the way from Kumasi, coming down through Obuasi, Bekwai, Dunkwao, and Ofing, and came down all the way to Takwa as well as Takrady to assess the state of our rail lines, and we notice that almost all of them are gone. Let's take a look. Undeniably, rail offers convenient means of transporting goods and people from one socio-economic area to the other. Rail transport has boosted the growth of many economies among the developed and the rapid developing nations. To some of these economies, the efficiency, reliability, durability, and above all, cost-effective impact of rail transportation for inhabitants are overwhelmingly acknowledged. Rail transportation is also proven to be the best option in transporting larger volumes of cargo compared with road and even air. These are the reasons why Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, built a very buoyant rail sector with active lines and coaches. The presence of this active rail sector was very instrumental in boosting the Ghanaian economy few years after independence. Ghana's ports then became the major beneficiary of the buoyant rail sector as transportation of goods was a lot easier. A lot more natural mineral resources including bauxite, manganese, ore, gold, alumina, diamond and so on, as well as agricultural products like cocoa, rubber, timber, cashew, etc. were easily transported from production and mining origin to the Takrady port and later on to Tema port. But unfortunately, almost 60 years since independence, virtually all the rail lines that existed at the time are either rotten, excavated for scrap by unscrupulous individuals, or in most cases encroached upon either legitimately or illegitimately. Iron Port spent this Christmas holidays assessing the state of the rail lines, particularly from the busy commercial city of Kumasi through cocoa-producing town of Asante Bekwai, gold mining hubs of Dunkwao and Ofing, Asingfosu, Obuasi and Takwa, all the way to resources-filled capital city of Sekondi, Takrady, where Ghana's premier port is located. Our discovery was disheartening to say the least. In Kumasi, the railway line runs through the main Kejitia market behind the railway station. But unfortunately, on Christmas Eve, upon our visit, the entire rail line had been taken over by traders and one can rarely locate the lines. Kiosks and shanty buildings had also taken over other lines from the railway's head office to the new Kejitia market currently being constructed. The rail line then stretches from the Kejitia market through Kase to Buankra, where Shippers Authority already has a facility in place to commence an inland port for the northern belt of Ghana. In Kase, residents say all the lines had been encroached on while others had been excavated for scrap. In Buankra, where the proposed inland port is located, weeds had virtually taken over the entire rail lines. The line moves from Buankra to Asante Bekwai, which is a cocoa-producing town. Here again, weeds have taken over the entire lines which passes under this bridge, making the only road network in the town deteriorated by trucks which transport cocoa beans to the Takoradi port and the industrial town of Tema.
If we reactivate the railway lines, it will help ease the pressure on our main road, which has been the main source of transportation from Kumasi through to Takoradi.
This is a cocoa producing area and they produce a lot of cocoa. They struggle to get them to the Takoradi port before it's exported out there because all of them would have to use the cargo, the trucks which ply the roads there. So their roads, most of their roads are getting deteriorated. The situation was not different in Dunkwa or Nofing. So look at the rail line here. It used to be very good. All of this was supposed to be the rail line that was being used to cart most of this produce. Because the rail lines are broken and they are no longer functioning, all these businesses have been cut. In Obuasi, a gold mine in town, although most of the lines were intact, they had been left to rust, and residents say they cannot wait to see a revamp of the rail lines.
We produce bauxite and this thing. So when the railway is working, it will be easy to transport. And
similar sentiments were expressed by residents of the gold-rich town of Takwa. Already, the expansion work currently ongoing at the Takoradi Harbour is progressing steadily, with a number of projects completed. A new bulk jetty is also progressively developing. With all these, the growing sentiments of the people to revamp the railways is not far-fetched. Undoubtedly, if factories and industries can spring up in the districts of Ghana, then the necessary means of transporting goods and people to and from the port, which is certainly rail, should be given the needed and urgent attention. So as you may have noticed in that piece there, it's obvious that our rail lines are not working. But what amount of work and burden does this put on the new Ministry for Railways Development, as well as the minister who is in charge? Have they seen this? Are they aware of the difficulties involved? And what have they been doing ever since about a year since that ministry came to being? And the minister himself, what has he been up to? What's the future of the rail lines? And all of that, I sat down with the minister, Honorable Joe Garte. There have been a lot of expectations, very huge expectations from your sector, maybe particularly because a lot of people are very anxious of this rail sector. What's going on there?
I appreciate the fact that there's a lot of expectation. It's good expectation, but I think everything's under control. I think that we have an advantage because we have the information.
We as a country, you mean?
No, we as a ministry.
The ministry.
Have an advantage because we have the information and we know that everything is of course. First of all, we must recognize that this is not a project where government has given us money to go and execute. In fact, no government in Ghana can give the ministry the kind of money that it needs to execute this project.
I see. So you are not getting money from government to do your...
No, wow. Not from government. Our GDP is 43 billion. What we intend to do conservatively is about 7.8 billion, 7.8 billion, 8 billion. If we add this Akosombo, if we add this line that we are talking about, we easily hit 10 billion.
Yeah.
That's about a quarter of the GDP. There's no government
that will volunteer that much.
No. Doing all the programs that we are doing as a government, the social programs, the free SHS, and all the various interventions that the president, very important interventions that the president is making. You cannot do social programs on BOT. You can't do free education, but you can do this on BOT. So we spent the first year actively promoting our projects.
Yeah.
I must say that we are very happy with the results. A number of things have worked for us. By the grace of God, we have a very stable country. An investment of a railway is a major investment. It takes a number of years to recoup your investment. It's an infrastructure project which costs a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
Our country is a stable country.
Yeah.
So political risk is very low.
Yeah.
Just before this investment, there was a major investment in the port sector. 1.5 billion.
expansion, yes.
And so any investor looking at the portfolio of investments that he can go into terms of infrastructure will immediately see that somebody has taken the lead and has put 1.5 billion into Ghana for a port, the same kind of infrastructure. Another advantage that we have, of course, is that over the last few years, a number of African countries have done investment in rail. I talk about Ethiopia, I talk about Djibouti, I talk about Kenya, even Nigeria, Morocco, and so on. So there are 54 African countries, and odd between 5 and 10 have been very serious in rail. So the infrastructure investing community, especially the ones who are prepared to do rail, are looking for opportunities in other countries. And so we came as a very good investment, as it were, destination. And even this has been confirmed. The latest report that are coming out of the World Bank tells us that Ghana will be the preferred investment destination. So last year was about investment promotion. Getting to the end of last year, we started going through the procurement process, the procurement of the various advisors that we need in order to implement our program. So what we have done is that we have these different lines that we are looking at as standalone but interconnected projects. And so with your permission, I can talk about it line by line. On the Eastern line, as you are well aware, we had the market sounding event. We put in advertised expression of interest in the papers.
But it's looking good though.
It's looking very good. So what is happening on that line is that we've talked to the transaction advisors that we want financial closure by June. So just before this interview, they talked to me about the kind of valuation committee that they'll set up after they've done the request for proposals. There were two options. The first option was that they would do it and then bring it to us to approve, or have a joint committee. We took the joint committee because then it's not a double process. So we do a request for proposal, people bring their proposals, then they shortlist to 6, they start negotiation. Hopefully by June, under their program, we'll have financial closure. And so once we have financial closure by June, then we can start the process of building. In the meantime, what do we have to do as a ministry, as a country? We have to start preparing the right of way. Because what we've learned from Temakosobo is that you can have the money, but if you don't have, if people are frustrating your right of way.
Is that what's happening with Temakosobo? Because we know you started with that a long time ago.
Yes, Temakosobo, initially we faced some problems, and it will surprise you, not only from trespassers or people, for even some of the government agencies. So you had the situations of electricity corporation and so on, where there are lines, where there are pylons and so on. But it has taught us a lot. It's a very good learning curve. We have negotiated with the people. The deputy ministers have done very well. GRD have done well. We had a problem in Ashiyama with the woodworkers. It has been resolved. We had a problem in a place called Bediakun. It has been resolved. So we are resolving the issues.
The issues one after the other. So basically that's been your hindrance as far as that project is
concerned. But
dealing with people and settling people here and there.
Yes, it has taught us that we must start working at that.
Before you get other projects in line as well.
Yes, so I mean, we've identified the main, should I say, trouble spots. And so by next week, we are going to start dealing with it. We started dealing with some of it along Konongo, Kumasi, Kofodra is also very encumbered in Sawon, even Tema as well, Accra Central. You know, we just took over possession of between Circle and Accra Central.
Those are the things you likely encounter. So a lot of us, when we heard that this is your seat, we knew that it's a very heavy seat. We had done, and as you may have seen in the video that was just played, we had done a documentary assessing the rail lines all the way from Kumasi down through Takwa and then Takrady. Almost all the lines have been encroached. People have taken the lines as scrap and sold them and everything.
They stole it. Don't say take it, stolen.
Stolen them.
Yes, stolen.
And all these are gone. And you are starting all afresh, having to clear buildings and all of that. How much weight does this put on you?
It seems to me that my entire training in life, to some extent, was made for such an occasion.
Something like this.
I'm an investment.
A very huge task.
I'm an investment lawyer by training. I understand what is going on. The Attorney General has given us 2 chief state attorneys who are working with us. The Ministry of Finance is helpful. They've given to us Charles Edubwa, Deputy Minister of Finance. The minister himself is prepared to listen to us. The other ministers have been so helpful. The president himself, the vice president. And so I think that I don't feel alone.
Yeah. The support is there.
The support is there. It's a difficult job. But it's not an insurmountable job. And nobody told me life was a bed of roses. And so, yes, there's been encroachment. But I'm telling you that now that construction has started on the Western Line, we started construction on the Western Line, standard gauge from Kojo Chrome to Masu. Now that construction has started, people will move out of the way. I mean, people have no clue what it means to construct a railway line. It's like constructing a road.
Yeah.
The kind of trucks that move, you see, the preparation, 80% of preparation is like constructing a first-class asphalt road.
I see. Even though it looks tiny.
Yes, at the end of the day,
it looks tiny.
It looks tiny.
But you prepare
large area. You have to prepare the formation. You have to prepare the embankments because the water must run off. And then you end up by preparing the permanent way, which sits on the middle of the formation. So, I mean, I'm telling you that our aim, God willing, is that by the end of this year, we'll turn the whole of Ghana into a construction site. Nice. And people will have work to do. The Eastern Line would have started. The Western Line would have started. I've talked about the Eastern Line. Let me come to the Western Line. The Western Line, we are negotiating with one of the off-takers who we think have a right of first refusal, because everybody who comes to us and says we'll do BOT, the person is depending on the off-takers to give him money. Now, the off-takers don't need to do that much financial feasibility because they know how much they use the line. So they helped us to rehabilitate the line, and they came and said, well, why don't we do it ourselves? God bless them. But we've entered into an MOU that was for 3 months initially, ended February 7th, and said that by February 7th, if we came to the conclusion that they were not serious, we could kiss and say goodbye. But if we came to the conclusion that they were serious, but we needed further negotiations, we would extend it for another 3 months. It will end May 7th. So by May 7th, if we haven't arrived at a conclusion with them, then we open it up to the world. But in the meantime, we are also appointing a transaction advisor for the Western Line, who we are also on the same Western Line, have Team International, an Italian firm, who did the master plan. They are doing the final and do the front-end engineering designs. They are doing the final engineering designs, the quantities themselves. So the Western Line is being packaged for easy sale, if I can put it that in quote. I talked about Temakoso, but then of course today the investment that we envisage to do is about a quarter of the GDP of Ghana. The investment we are seeking to do in the next few years will be the largest infrastructural investment in any sector in Ghana since independence.
I see.
I mean, your port is 1.5 billion. Yeah. I mean, one of our lines is 1.5 billion. It's like building your port 4 times over. And the rail line transforms a nation. I mean, the movement of goods. Listen, even food, simple food, the cost of moving food reduces by 25 to 50%. Do you know what that does? It reduces inflation, because the food basket is a huge part of inflation. The recent growth in the economy, when I was checking the figures, I was told that one of the major areas of growth is the quarry sector. The quarry industry. I've been told by some of the contractors that when production starts in full, there are not enough operational quarries now to service the sector. Because, you know, ballast is a huge part of our construction. Do you know what that means? That means that more quarries will have to be open. The ancillary jobs that will be created, you have no idea what is going to happen. The nation is going to be transformed. There's research from London School of Economics, and I encourage you to go online and look for it. That research shows that where the rail line passes, there's a persistence of economic development. You know, when the first rail line was built in the Western region, it was built because of the mines. It's from Takoradi to those mines there. But do you know what happened? It was that the railway line that increased the production of cocoa. Yeah. That made the cocoa farmer who was carrying cocoa on his head from Obuasi to the port to put it in the train. And by the 1920s, Ghana had become the world's largest producer of cocoa. Sorry, the Gold Coast. Yeah. And the Gold Coast had become the richest colony in British Africa. I'm telling you that what the train is going to do surpasses our imagination, me and you. It will have an impact that we have not foreseen. We have foreseen great things, but great things he has done and greater things he will do. God and the real as well.
Amen. We will continue to wish Mr. Joe Garte and his entire team, the Deputy Minister of that ministry, as well as all the directors, Mr. Sisi Okran, and the entire team there, Nakwale Kote, my own colleague, the best of luck as they pursue all efforts and all activities to ensure that we restore that ministry, we restore that sector back, because the port needs it, you need it, and everyone else needs it. Folks, Ion Port returns after the break.
Hello.
Good morning, this is Samantha Wendy. I am sending a purchase order from SA2 Ventures International. Our policy for new supplies is 2 containers to start with, but you must deliver within 30 days.
Don't worry at all. I'm going to get you the 4 containers within 30 days or less. Bye.
To get his pineapple slices from his country to his clients overseas, Mr. Appiah and his representatives have to complete a number of regulatory compliance procedures to various international trade stakeholders.
Hey, Baba, what's going on? Get it right? I mean, how?
Using single window, Mr. Appiah has completed all his international trade procedures through one portal. He has registered his company information, applied for the necessary permit, certificates and licenses, and all that remains is for him to get a text alert for clearance and movement of goods. And that's how simple facilitating international trade could be in a single window environment. You can offer competitive services to your trading partners in China, America, even here, in a simpler, faster, and cost-effective way. Single window, the only way to Ghana's economic growth is in our hands.
When cleaning your vehicle by valeting, steaming, waxing, or polishing, make sure the engine is also sound. Servicing your vehicle with Gold synthetic oil and any quality Gold oil massages the engine, removes deposit, protects it from wear and tear for longer lasting performance, and makes your vehicle feel pampered. Made for diesel and super engines. Remember, after every 15,000 kilometers of enjoying your ride, service your engine with Gold synthetic oil.
We're a champion. That's why I, Azuma Nelson, 3 times world boxing champion and a patriot, always choose Goil.
Ashene Pankasa. Goil, good energy.
Welcome back from the break. Still watching Ion Port, and coming up next, people, a very important news item, and Ghana Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has impounded a 40-footer container, a refrigerated container for that matter, that contains some expired Fandango. Fandango, you know the Fandango that we've all been drinking from Fan Milk, a lot of it had expired and were contained in a certain 40-footer container. Customs says, no way, this will never come to the public.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has confiscated a 40-footer container which contains expired Fandango ice cream products. The goods, which were examined by Customs on the 30th January 2018, had an expiry date of 28 December 2017 before they arrived at the port of Tema on January 7, 2018. The impounded goods include 12,800 pieces of Fandango with cost value of 21,407 Ghana cedis, 66 pesos. State agencies present to confirm the expiry date of the goods were the Port Authority, National Security, Police, Food and Drugs Authority, Port Health, Preventive Officers, and Customs Chemists. The container is said to have been loaded from Farm Milk Nigeria with DANGO as the agent and Farm Milk Ghana as importer. The Chief Revenue Officer in charge of Reefer Terminal, Dorothy Ahin, says goods are seized and destroyed immediately they are confirmed expired in order to prevent them from going into the public domain to endanger public life. She said DANGO and Farm Milk Ghana would be made to face sanctions, adding that Customs is vigilant in its mandate to protect public safety.
I will advise importers that Ghana is not a dumping ground. It is not a dumping ground. And the laws are there. Anybody who brings in any goods that are already expired immediately will be seized and then it will be destroyed. Of course, it does damage the profile of the company. It's not good enough because these products are basically for our children and we need to protect them. Customs is our duty, one of our agency duties, to ensure that anything which comes in is wholesome and not unwholesome.
So away from that, vigilance of the Customs Division of Ghana Revenue Authority, as well as the port security there, we take you to international news. And piracy around the shores of Nigeria and Benin is just becoming unbearable. 2 piracy attacks again this week around Nigeria and Benin. I don't know what's happening there, whether the Navy folks there, the patrol team there are not sitting up. Take a listen.
The IMB Piracy Reporting Center has revealed that armed pirates have attacked 2 vessels in separate incidents on February 24, 2018, off the coast of Bonny Island, Nigeria. In the first incident, which occurred in the morning hours at some 50 nautical miles off Bonny Island, about 8 armed pirates in a speedboat chased a container vessel underway. IMB informed that the alarm was raised, ship security alert system was activated, and the speed was increased, while all non-essential crew retreated to the citadel. The Nigerian Navy was also contacted, who informed the master to rendezvous with their naval vessel in the vicinity. As the pirate boat closed, the master commenced evasive maneuvers. Luxembourg flagged product chemical tanker ST Marseille was attacked by 5 armed pirates on February 26, 2018, while anchored in the Bay of Cotonou, the Gulf of Guinea. According to the IMB's Piracy Reporting Center, the pirates approached the tanker in a speedboat and opened fire once they boarded the vessel. 2 guards of the Benin Navy on board the tanker suffered gunshot wounds during the hijacking, as informed by the Luxembourg government. All crew, except the officer of the watch on the bridge, retreated into the citadel. A giant ship carrying 4 of the West Coast's largest container cranes has arrived in the port of Tacoma. The ship Shinwa 28 will sit at anchor in Commencement Bay for a couple of days before heading to Husky Terminal at the northwest end of the Blair Waterway.
When cleaning your vehicle by valeting, steaming, waxing, or polishing, make sure the engine is also sound. Servicing your vehicle with Gold Synthetic Oil and any quality Gold Oil massages the engine, removes deposit, protects it from wear and tear for longer lasting performance, and makes your vehicle feel pampered. Made for diesel and super engines. Remember, after every 15,000 kilometers of enjoying your ride, service your engine with Gold Synthetic Oil.
We are a champion. That's why I, Azuma Nelson, 3 times world boxing champion and a patriot, always choose Goil.
Ashwini Pankasa. Goil, good energy.
Schedules of vessels that are sitting in the port, those that are at anchorage and are being manned and protected by heavy security, those also expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate are all next on your screens. That's it for this week's episode of Eye on Port. Thank you for watching the program, and I have to say a lot of thanks to my own crew, Martin Minta, the man who works tirelessly to get all of us going. Also, Robert Nyantechi, Godwin Kabute, Solomon Anderson, Joe Lavo, Joe Bone, Flavia Moesi, executive producers, Abena Sewa, Opokufosu, and Esther Jebidonkop. Also, Lawrence Gazy and Belinda Decker. Thanks for watching.